What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the M57 diesel swap into a Toyota 105 Series Land Cruiser. So quick recap, we yanked this motor out of a 2006 X5 BMW and it's paired with a 6-speed auto. And this is to replace the 1FZ petrol engine. And in today's video, we're showing the whole procedure on replacing valve stem seals, valve springs, and also replacing the entire timing chain assembly. So let's get to it. All right, so the first thing I want to do here today is get this engine jacked back up and get this front differential. Take that out because eventually we have to cut the sump. Only 4 bolts and that's out. Down the track we will have to cut along here and it's down there and that'll clear the 105 diff. Okay, so it's a little early in the video, but the ECU just got back from ASL Mods. Go check those guys out if you guys need anything swap related or anything M57 related or anything like that. Yeah, check these guys out. They've got everything you need. We're gonna whack this thing on and see if it'll fire up. I wanna make sure everything's gonna work on our engine. Oh yeah, fresh merch. Check out, it's linked in the video. Beamer tool's connected, so we'll have a little play with that. Alright, so first little job I'd like to do is to take off the intake manifold. That's going to need to be cleaned and that'll give us access to the rocker cover and everything. So all this gets deleted anyway. If you do plan on using this, you can leave all that obviously, but I'm going to cut all that off. I don't want any of that. Air filter, we'll run our own air box. We've certainly got some scrubbing to do. A lot of carbon built up. Really handy plug kit from ASL Mods. Super worth getting these things. So easy just to slide in and not have to worry about things falling down into the intake. No way, well one short. Ah, that's all right. Just soak the glow plugs. If one of those broke, that would be very bad. So it's not ideal, but I'm going to use the stud to gently bring the injector up. Not recommended. Yeah, works quite well, that one. Okay, so intake is off and it looks really good under here for a 300k engine. The cams look really good. They've got a slight little bit of wear on them, but nothing that grabs your finger or anything. So I've got to clean those up a bit. I'm going to put bigger valve springs in there or more high performance ones. So cover the top of the engine back up because right now I want to split the gearbox, get this on a stand so we can start to strip this stuff and actually have more space around the front here. So I've just removed the downpipe and we're just undoing the torque converter bolts in there. So rotating the engine around. Doing this now because it's a lot easier than doing it on the floor later. Okay, so the camera ended up going flat halfway through, but I got this thing on. Super dodgy to get it on because of these legs were hitting those bottom legs. I had to go out to the 250 kilo mark. So this part is the thermostat, and because it's got these funny push-on hoses, clip-on fittings, makes it a little bit harder to adapt. Radiator hose, because you have to buy that hose, put a joiner in and down the bottom. So I'd like to make that out of aluminium, and I think sell a few of them because I reckon it would be very good. And from what I've read up, these thermostats are set to, I think it's like 89 degrees or something. So quick little update, it's been a couple of days here. I've been trying to get parts for this engine, like the sprockets and stuff. I really wanted to replace those, but after talking to local BMW, said allow up to at least 8 weeks minimum to get these sprockets from Germany. So I just can't do that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think we'll just do the chains and everything, so that makes it a lot easier. I figured I'd clean the injector seats before we pull the cams out. You see that's a before, how they're looking now. Sort of hard to see down there, but get those done. I'll have to eventually clean these intake ones as well as much as I can. But righto, so we've got to find top dead center number 1. So a little bit of rod down here sort of helps. We'll see that go up and down as we rotate the engine. So we can confirm pistons on the top, rods all the way up. So it's obviously going to the rod's going to come up, go down, up, and then it's going to stop for a little bit and then come down. Cams will still move. So there's no real timing mark that I've seen on these. There's definitely no dots inside here on the cam sprockets. Good indication our cams are facing this way. That's how you want it. And also we can take our pin here and install it into this little hole, and it slides straight in. So that locks our flywheel, so that crank will not move. This thing's top dead center at the moment. I've taken this cap off here. There is a 10mm bolt inside to release tension on the chain tensioner that's in there. Now exhaust cam, well the inlet cam, sorry, to move, so I'm going to use the exhaust cam, slightly engine rotation, so I'm going to bring it this way until that locking pin to it. There, yep, feels nice and springy. Okay, so cam spanner is 22mm, just so you know, and we're going to release with 2 T40s on the front here for the timing chain pins. These have got seal up on the threads. You are meant to replace these as well. Front one. Those two out are releasing this exhaust cam sprocket bolt at the moment. So that's an E14. So vacuum pump drive, remove that as well. I will be cleaning all these up, these parts up, and we're just going to remove this sprocket as well, so he comes out quite easily. Okay, next inlet cam. I didn't grip this before like I should have. Now that's the biggest one, is this system, this sprocket and everything is in the way of getting this cover off. So you're never going to get that cover off there without getting this sprocket off and getting to that hidden bolt inside that'll show after. Remove this chain guide. Alright, so put that one out. So we've got the sprocket pulled off and chain just cable tied out of the way, and now you can see that hidden bolt way down in there. I'll put a circle around it. That we have to loosen that one, and that cover can come off. Now these are a 6mm Allen head. Next up, we can remove the cams. So there's 28 of these Torx bit screws and they are a T30. So we have to remove those very gently because we don't want to bend or snap or cause any damage to these cams whatsoever. So working from the outside to the inside. Okay, so with that all removed, we've now removed the rockers, so we've got access to our valve springs. So we're doing springs and valve stem seals while we're at it. So we're just going to have the piston on top dead center and rest the valves down on top of the piston so that they don't fall down too far and we don't lose them. So okay, so with the piston on top dead center, we can release the pressure off the valve springs and remove those, and the valves will only go down about 2 mil. And to do that, we've got a nice little tool from ASL Mods here. That'll go down here just like that. Okay, so we'll gradually tighten these. Okay, so we got that completely compressed. So now I'll try and put this torch here so you can see a bit better. We're just going to get the little half cones out that actually retain the spring to the shaft. So we want to look for the little split there, just like that. Then we grab a magnetic tool. I highly recommend this. Here we go. Right, I'll do the others and we can release the tension. They are now loose. We can just take them out just like that. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. I've done one because I actually haven't done seals before, so I wanted to give that a go. Quite easy to get out actually. A little bit of a shimmy side to side. In there with a pair of needle nose pliers. So jiggle back and forth and they basically just pop straight up. Just like that. So we've got oil all around our seats in there, so I'm just getting in there with a rag. You don't really have to do this, but again, I just like to be clean. I'm sure to get any of that out that I can see. Take some assembly lube and put a little bit on the seat. We've got enough in the end there. Okay, so we locate that down onto there. Take a clean 16mm socket and we slot that over the top and push it home all the way down, and then we can just gently tap it. Okay, so I've gone off upgraded valve spring. These are from ASL Mods. They highly recommend these to stop valve float. A little bit of assembly lube again. Sit the spring down in there. Put him on, just like that. And we can reassemble. And just like that, the first cylinder is done. We've got all the valves done, they're all back in, all the seals are replaced. Really, really good to have all that done. When we did all those, I rotated the engine once, so I've just rotated it again, a full turn, and locked the flywheel again, so we're back at TDC number 1. So I put the cams back in, we need to clean the cam bolt holes, and we need to put the rockers back in. So we need to clean the rockers, put those in, put assembly lube on everything, and a little bit of brake clean in these holes here and blow them out with some compressed air. Be sure to drain any water out of your compressor too. You'll be amazed how much is in there. First up, lifter's going to go back in. We'll clean each contact point a little bit with some brake clean. Just don't want anything left on there, and then we'll oil it up with some assembly lube. Each rocker's been put back in its original spot and pre-lubricated, so we're ready to put the cams in. Okay, first cam, which is the exhaust cam. Best way to clean these things is just brake clean and then air blow it down. Now we're just going to lubricate all the journals and stuff very thoroughly. Okay, so this looks to be laser cut. I think what's happened is when it's gone down, it's wandered a little bit just because of how thick the piece is. Really shouldn't have had to have done it, but I've just sanded out a little bit on either side. It's still a really snug fit, but who's to say that sanded one side too much and now it sits a bit funny? I don't know. But I've had to do what I can with it. This was $150, this tool, off Amazon, and I couldn't get onto the seller, which is really frustrating. So you sell something and it doesn't work. So just be mindful, it was from the UK. Amazon somewhere in the UK. Okay, so we've got the camshaft held in top dead center position, so this is exactly where it needs to be. If we didn't have this tool and tighten this down, it could potentially push a lobe down and push a valve into the piston while you're trying to tighten it up. So we want to make sure we're on top dead center. So we've got the tool now freshly sanded and it fits absolutely perfectly. It is a little bit funky on that corner there, but it is nice and tight now. And it's not going anywhere. So I just had to go out and buy a small torque wrench, which will do the 10 Newton meters that we need for these bolts. These are M6s, so working from inside to outside. So with that done, we can undo our timing tool and remove that. And then we just reverse, we'll do the other one. I'll skip through and do that. With both cams timed up and intake locked, we can now drop the sump enough to get that to that bottom sprocket, and we can start to do our bottom section of timing chain. Alright, so top guide out, oil squirters coming out, the tensioner was removed. There's no gasket behind the tensioner either. Look, got a new squirter as well, luckily. Righto, so this little puller comes in the timing kit, so you guys will definitely need to get that if you're doing this. Alright, so if you're doing this, I just want to let you guys know that definitely replace the sprockets. I tried ordering the top one and the bottom one here, and even the oil pump, but obviously they were from Germany. So I ran into the issue of our bottom one here with the harmonic balancer where that bolts onto, that the main seal was just worn out. So you can see that on there. But basically nobody writes about this. This is for the aluminium block engine, this one, and it is identical. The only thing it's got is a revised O-ring by the look of it in the back, we're thinking. Whereas that one doesn't. They're still 21 tooth and 20 tooth at the back, so everything still looks fine. They're still the same diameter. They've got the same inner diameter as well. They've both still got the keyways there, but with local BMW, they said this one just wasn't compatible. So I believe this is their updated thing, and they've just deleted all the old part numbers. So that's the new part number that I used there. So I got that from Quick As 4x4, and also got the O-ring for it too. So we're going to install that. Slide that onto there with the O-ring. So I think that's just stopping any seepage coming out to the front of the harmonic, because that only bolts on flush. So we've got that gear back in place. As you can see, it sits flush like the old one did. I put the O-ring on first and then put the gear on and then walked the O-ring into the gear with a little bit of oil, and then pushed the gear back and tapped it on gently on the face, and it's all the way flush. First up, oil pump chain. That's the part number there we're using. We'll just place that on the chain. Now the sprocket's got a little flat on it too, so it's got to line up obviously. Put our bolts in. I've got a brand new bolt. Alright, so this bottom bolt is an M8 by 35mm, and we're using a T45 on it. This is torqued up to 5 Newton meters, and then we cross-reference that and then go 90 degrees across. Okay, so I'll brake clean this multiple times, so now we can put our gasket on. Okay. So I have 2 dowel pins, we just have to line it up on. One there. So new fuel pump sprocket, that's a part number there we're using. Fit that over the top. So our new guides go on. Next up, while the chains are loose and we can get in there, is our new chain oiler. That's the part number there. So when you order these things, I did ask, did it come with a gasket? They said no, but it actually does come with a gasket with that part number. So that's really good. I have a spare gasket now. Just gonna use a tiniest bit of oil just around on that gasket just to help that seal a little bit. Number 5 Allen key. All right, and do that up to 10 Newton meters. So next up is our chain tensioner. So this is a hydraulic chain tensioner. So it's got an oil gallery inside, and it lubricates both the piston sort of springs, so to speak, you've got in there. So we need to make sure that we clean out the two top holes here, top hole and bottom hole, sorry. And this one here is our oil gallery, so we won't worry about that one. 12 Newton meters. Okay, so next up is our upper timing chain guide rail. Goes in like so. Chain in here. So fuel pump, sprocket nut can go on. And then once everything is checked okay, we can release our tension. Okay, so next up with that tightened, everything visually looking really good in here. Nothing sort of rubbing, it's all nice and clean. And just checking that obviously our chains are in our guides completely. We can install the timing cover. So I've tapped out my front main seal that goes on this sprocket. We can do that later. So what we can add onto this is a tiny dab of sealer. I'm just going to use a little bit of 3-bond just on the corners here because that's where it joins up to the actual head gasket. 3-bond automotive sealer, this stuff is amazing. Putting this on, we've just got to watch that pin that's hanging out. And we've got 2 dowels we need to line up as well. So with all those in, we can install these 4 front ones and the one down inside the engine as well. Get down in there. Okay, so there's 14 Torx bits bolts around and they are a T40. You've got the automatic chain serpentine belt tensioner here that slides in. We've got to bolt that to the back so we can bolt the casing on. 15 Newton meters. So you can see this side we've got a nice amount of squeeze out and the same on this side. And there's our automatic tensioner in place as well that we had to put in for those 2 bolts. Okay, so you can see that we've moved our tensioner back up. Once we've done that bolt up, just got it roughly in place. And we've got the intake cam locked and we have actually timed the exhaust cam, but we're focusing on the intake cam first. So first up, we've got to fit our intake camshaft gear. Now you're looking at this probably thinking, oh, there's some dots there, they're timing marks. There's absolutely nothing on this to time this at all. So a handy hint would probably be to somehow mark this to the cam because they are a press fit and they can move around while you're doing it, and potentially mark the 2 gears together in mesh in the center because that's where the later models they're in the center here on the back. I've cleaned up inside of both these bolt holes with a little bit of brake clean. This one, the exhaust cam has got an oil gallery running through it. I don't believe that the intake one has. Freshly cleaned pins. I didn't actually get new ones of these because again they were from Germany, but you want to put a nice bit of sealer on there. Probably don't want to use RTV because it might crack the case. So I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite, bit of 5, 6, 7. So it's probably best just to give those holes a quick brake clean. I just did that with a rag shoved down inside, but you can probably do that with all this pulled apart would be the easiest way. Now a tiny bit of assembly lube on them. Alright, so let that sit there for a second. Okay, so torque this one to 20 Newton meters. Okay, I skipped a step, so we'll take that back off. That won't fit with this in the way. Okay, so there's a little pin, just click down and lock that in. Okay, so we can install the retaining pin for this one. Okay, so we're just going to hand tighten this bolt and then slightly release it so it's got a little bit of movement. And again, you can grip the camshafts on the hexagonals. Okay, so next thing, really quick visual, just looking over, making sure everything's okay. We've still got that a little bit loose, that bolt, so everything can sort of move a tiny bit. So now what we can do with that shaft locked, we can release the pressure off this tensioner down lower, because this sprocket you may see it might move a tiny bit. I'm just going to help a little bit of tension off this so it doesn't go bang, hopefully. And there we go. And release that. So you saw that sprocket moved a tiny bit. Okay, so 22mm spanner. I'm going to grip the hexagonals on there on that shaft. So we can tighten this bolt up to 20 Newton meters. This is a M12 by 1.5. Now you really do need an angle gauge for this, but I'm just going to sketch on there with a permanent marker. So we've got 90 degrees, it calls for 50, so we'll go halfway and slightly over. All right, so that is fully timed, that side. Let's get that side back together. So remove the tool off the inlet side and put it on the exhaust side. Okay, making sure it's sitting flat on the head on both sides. So freshly cleaned gear. Again, no timing marks on this, so we'll just slot it in. And freshly cleaned bolt. Now the fun / scary part, we can remove this tool. And we can now check our timing, so we just got to remove the pin, the flywheel. Okay, so we have some timing marks just there on the gears. Sorry for the glare there, but you can see we just got those on there. I just want to do those as references. So engine rotation is clockwise. One full rotation. And we can get our pin back in. Okay, so now we just want to check that our tool fits and sits flush. So you can see it sits flat there. And there. And the same with it rotated, it's sitting flat. Okay, so that's going to be all for today's video. This video is just covering the basic procedure on replacing valve stem seals, springs, removing the cams obviously to get access to those, and doing all your timing changes and stuff on this M57 engine. So if you guys found this video helpful at all, definitely let me know in the comments section. I couldn't really find much online of the cast iron block engine getting done. Now obviously we still have so much more work to do. We've got to put the top of the engine together, put the injectors and everything in, we've got to put the intake on, rocket cover, all that sort of stuff. So we've still got all that to come. We still have to cut the sump as well. We have to cut that front differential part out of the sump so we can clear the 105's diff. Also coming up for the next video will be the ZF Auto. We just have to do a basic service on that. I'm going to do probably inner and outer seals on that and some stem seals and stuff and a service kit, basic service kit for that. Bolt that back on and then we can start looking at getting the 105's engine removed. So yeah, again, I really hope this video helps you guys. If you're planning one of these swaps into something, let me know in the comment section. I'd like to hear about it. Make sure you guys subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.